told them a decade ago that they could earn money by doing podcasting. The internet has made it easier than ever to learn just about anything you want. So with all this content and information available, how did you know which ones to earn from and which ones actually work? Luckily for you laptop lifestyler, in this video, we will be talking about podcasts. And how can podcasts help you to make money? Let us find out. But first, remember that while the first step is completing any of these amazing ways, the second and possibly more important step is taking action, even if it's imperfect action. If you are trying to build a brand or run a business, it's critical to consider all the different ways you can communicate with your target audience. There are constantly new ways to reach out to people and grab their attention. Podcast is adding to the numerous ways to communicate with potential customers. Do you want to start a podcast but aren't sure if you should? As the popularity of podcasts grows, many people are looking to join the growing field in the hopes of monetizing their knowledge or passion. Podcasting appeals to a wide range of people, from hobbyists looking to share an interest and supplement their income to business owners looking to grow a customer base and establish their expertise. According to the Podcast Consumer 2019, a report by Edison Research and Triton Digital, the podcasting audience has grown significantly in the last year. 51% of Americans aged 12 and up said they had previously listened to a podcast. 32% had listened to one in the previous month, and 22% had heard one in the previous week. While all key demographics increased, many of the gains were seen among listeners aged 12 to 24. Even small podcasts can generate revenue through a variety of methods, including advertisements, affiliate marketing, crowdfunding, selling merchandise, and hosting live events. Users can upload their shows to major platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which can help build an audience and attract more advertisers, a critical source of revenue. How do podcasts make money? Number 1. Advertising and sponsorships. Advertising and sponsorships are probably the first things you think of when looking for ways to make money from podcasting. There are several different podcast ad networks that can connect you with advertisers. They do all the work of finding advertisers, negotiating rates, getting the script, and more. You usually need a larger audience of at least 5K or 10K listeners per month to work with them. One of the largest ad networks is Midroll. Another popular network is Authentic, and many of the podcast hosting companies have their own networks as well. Another option that can work well if you have a smaller or more niche audience is to reach out directly to companies. That would be a great fit for your audience. Advertisement sales usually happen either directly between the brand and podcast, or by using an agency as a broker or marketplace. Commission from affiliated products or programs is another common income stream for podcasters. Hosts can mention products on their show and give listeners a specific discount link. The podcast then receives a percentage of each sale made with its unique URL. Rather than including advertisements, some podcasts prefer to sell subscriptions to their show by keeping some or all of the content behind a paywall. Crowdfunding platforms like Patreon let subscribers pick a donation tier for different perks, such as exclusive content or early access to episodes. Most of the aforementioned methods are more financially beneficial with a larger audience. While certainly helpful, a big following isn't necessary in order to make an income through podcasting. Later, we'll discuss opportunities to monetize a podcast that aren't directly tied to audience size. Sponsorships are the most common way podcasters make money. This is when the podcast promotes the sponsor during the show. You probably hear your favorite shows plug their advertisers a few times in every episode. How much you earn from a sponsor depends on the number of downloads your episodes earn. Sponsors pay on a cost per mile basis. Mile is Latin for 1,000. Rates range from $18 to $50 CPM, though hugely popular podcasts can pull in a lot more. You can price your ads differently depending on where you place them within your episode. Pre-roll ads run at the beginning of the show, usually for about 15 to 30 seconds. They are worth the same to advertisers. Mid-roll ads are more valuable because the audience is captive at the time. Sometimes the sponsor will give you a script to read. Other times, the sponsor will give you more flexibility. When you first start pitching advertising, we recommend asking for $15 for pre- and post-roll ads and $20 for mid-roll ads. Check out the podcast sponsorship calculator to learn how much you can charge for ads. Number 2. Direct support, including premium content. Direct support is when you simply ask your fans to send you money to support your show. If your content and personality are good, there are plenty of people who will happily throw you a few dollars so you can keep producing episodes. This is one of the first solutions we recommend to podcasters looking to monetize their show because it's easy to set up. The best method is to create a Patreon account and make a page that explains why you deserve support and to collect money. If you don't want to use Patreon, you can add a PayPal button or open a Stripe account and add a donation form to your site. A great way to get your audience to support you is to compensate them with premium content. You could charge them for early access to episodes, bonus episodes, downloadable resources, live chats, or access to newsletters and Facebook groups. Premium content can really be anything you want, but some of the common ways podcasters offer premium content are with additional interviews, behind-the-scenes content, ad-free RSS feed, early access RSS feed, and Q&A with the hosts. Have fun coming up unique ways to deliver additional value to your community for a few dollars per month. The Daily Wire is a podcast and news site that offers the video version of the podcast, live episodes, a Tumblr, and other bonuses when you purchase an annual subscription. No matter what you think about the content they offer, this is a great example of premium content. Number 3. Affiliate sales or marketing. Affiliate sales are similar to sponsorships, but instead of getting paid by the download, you get paid based on what you sell for another company. The other company pays you a commission for each sale. Audible has a popular affiliate program that a lot of podcasters and YouTubers take advantage of. Audible gives you a special affiliate link to promote. When someone uses your link, you get credit for the sale and earn $15. If you monetize with affiliate sales, make sure the company gives you a simple link that's easy for you to say and your listeners to understand. Affiliate marketing or performance marketing is where you get a commission when you refer people to other companies. You will typically earn money when someone makes a purchase. Affiliate marketing works best when you promote products or services that you use or are familiar with, so you can authentically promote them. You could create your own ad spot to promote an affiliate offer if you don't have the audience size for traditional sponsorships. Or you can naturally include a mention of a product or service as you deliver your regular content. There are affiliate programs for nearly every popular product or service. Amazon is one of the more popular programs. Or you can also join a network like ShareSale, where you can search and apply to join specific programs. Using a plugin like Lasso is highly recommended. This allows you to create short links that redirect to your special tracking link, among a bunch of other useful features. This makes it easy to say a short, memorable URL on your podcast. It's also helpful to create a WordPress blog so people can easily learn more and find all the different companies you mentioned. Number 4, courses. Many popular podcasters create their own online courses to teach similar content to what they talk about on their podcast. Online courses are a great way to teach something in an easy-to-follow way where someone can get a specific result once they've completed it. It helps to have an email list so you can let your audience know about your course, both on your podcast and through email. If you like to teach others the nuts and bolts of the subject matter, then this could be the method for you. Here you'll break things down and explain them in a simple way in the form of a full course. This could be in video, audio, or written form. There is a wide range of platforms out there that can help you do it too. Two of our favorite course platforms are Teachable and Thinkific, both of which help you create a course in a super simple and great looking way. Another option to promote courses is to use a webinar platform to help show the value of what you offer for about 45 minutes and offer a course you have at the end. These work well because people are engaged and get to interact with you live. Here's the pros of this. These can be high-value products that can bring in 3, even 4-figure sums. Of course, it has its own cons. They can take a lot of time to put together, which can eat heavily into your podcast creation time. Depending on your topic, they might need to be updated regularly too. Number 5. Services. This is a step up from the previous coaching. Rather than teaching them how to do something, you can do it for them and charge them for it. One of our mentors owns Podcraft Podcast, which teaches people everything they need to know about running a podcast. This is an excellent example. However, many people will inevitably hear out advice and realize they don't have the time or inclination to follow it. So who do they enlist to assist them? Of course, it's our mentor, whom they've only recently met on the podcast. When they were still offering it, they used to get a lot of production work this way. Many people nowadays prefer to collaborate with them. You can also offer services that tie in with the content on your podcast. One of our mentors used to analyze and critique online ads on a podcast, and the service he offered was Google AdWords and Facebook Ads Management. By showing that he knew what he was an expert on the topic, people knew that they would get expert-level ad management. This made it much easier to get clients without having to sell them on his abilities. You could do something similar in many different industries. Number 6. Coaching and consulting. Coaching and consulting is somewhat similar to offering a service, but you usually don't do the work for them. Instead, you help or guide them on how to improve. Common industries that have a lot of consultants and coaches are fitness, diet, business, and teaching. But I'm sure there are consultants in every industry. This could work for you if you'd rather get on the phone and walk people through processes instead of teaching them online. Because you don't have to build anything, it's a better place to start than creating a full course. All you'll need is a booking form that accepts payments and a time slot. We use Book Like a Boss for this. It allows you to schedule times in your calendar, link them to various types of appointments, and manage the entire process with ease. Number 7. Crowdfunding and donations. You can ask for donations to help support you and your podcast. More entertainment-focused podcasts would be a good fit to monetize this way. A common platform for accepting donations is Patreon. They make it really easy to offer additional content or bonuses depending on the amount of money people support you with. They even give you the ability to have a separate paid-only RSS feed, which ties in nicely with the next method to make money podcasting. Number 8. Events. Hosting events is not only a great way to make money, but bring together your best fans and bring them even more value. One example we heard of from Pat Flynn was the Walker Stalker Conference. It was started by a podcast that talked about the Walking Dead TV show. They do all events all over the world and even get the actors involved. That sounds awesome. Another example from Sam Harris combines Patreon and live events, where when you become a patron, you can early access tickets to his live events. Number 9. Physical products. Physical products are things like t-shirts, mugs, and other swag. The Generation Y podcast offers a ton of different products, plus premium content, and a very active Patreon page. You can use a site like Teespring to make sure you get enough sales before they get printed. That way you don't get stuck with a bunch of products. Number 10. Books. Leveraging a popular podcast into book sales is another excellent way to make money and increase your authority. You can use your podcast audience to get those initial sales and reviews that will help your book stand out too. You can also be a guest on other podcasts to help promote your book when it launches. A popular option for how to monetize a podcast, a good ebook can be short and sweet, and it's relatively simple to put together if you know what you're doing. You can self-publish an ebook on almost any subject. Find something trending in your field and write about it. But make sure the reader benefits are crystal clear. Can you recognize and solve a problem? Number 11. Public speaking. Many podcasters get approached for speaking gigs in their industry. It makes sense that if someone likes what they hear on your podcast, you would most likely be a good fit to speak at conferences and live events and get paid to do it. Speaking fees can range from a few $100s or just free hotel and attendance to six figures or more. Speaking is another great way to increase your authority as well as getting exposed to a new audience that will hopefully become future podcast listeners. Number 12. Combine methods. As you can see, there are many different ways to make money from podcasting. Combining a few different ways is a popular approach, and you can always change and adjust your monetization methods over time. There is no right way to turn your podcast into a business, just the right way for you. Did we miss any monetization methods that you use? Or do you have a favorite? Let us know in the comments. How much money do podcasts make? Do podcasts make money? Of course they do. Big names are getting large amounts of listeners and large amounts of ad revenue in return. According to Advertised Cast, average 30-second CPM cost per 1K listeners rates are $18, while 60-second CPMs are $25. The Ringer had about 420 million downloads in 2018, earning $15 million in ad revenue paywall. Amy Schumer got a $1 million payday just to create a show for Spotify. But how much do smaller names make? And how do they do it? Here are a couple of examples. The Bowery Boys is a podcast about the history of New York City and makes over $3,800 per month through Patreon. The Last Podcast on the Left makes over $57,000 per month just through Patreon. They also sell shirts and do regular live shows in different cities. You can type podcast into the Patreon search box to see more examples, but not everyone shares their revenue, although you can estimate it by the number of patrons. How do you attract advertisers? Expand your audience to attract advertisers. Podcasts are becoming an increasingly sought-after advertising medium for brands. Podcast advertising revenue in the U.S. is expected to increase by 14.7% in 2020, according to IAB's U.S. podcast advertising revenue study prepared by PwC. The study reported $708.1 million in podcast ad revenue in 2019, a 48% increase from 2018. There are several key components that you should focus on in order to build an audience and establish your podcast. First is target audience. Identify your target audience and keep them in mind throughout the entire process. Every time you release an episode, have a plan for how you will market it. Who are you trying to connect with and how will you reach them? Second, user experience. Always keep user experience in mind. You want to make finding and listening to your podcast as easily as possible. Marketing tips from Apple Podcast advise optimizing your show for mobile platforms. Make sure your logo looks good as a small thumbnail and that your website is mobile friendly, for example. Third, visual appeal. The visual and written aspects of your podcast should convey the same theme and tone as the show itself does. Your platform should have a cohesive look and feel, things like cover art, website design, and social media activity. All should represent the podcast identity in a uniform way. How do you use Spotify and Apple to make more money? Listing a podcast on big platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts can help make your show more accessible. Below are the basics for submitting your podcast to these sites. See their websites for more information. If your hosting platform is one of Spotify's aggregator partners, it will provide instructions on how to submit your podcast to Spotify. Otherwise, you can do it manually by signing up with Spotify for podcasters. Even if your host automatically distributed your show to Spotify, you'll still need to sign up to Spotify for podcasters, as this will give you access to a dashboard with your show stats and notifications. After submitting your podcast, it can take a few hours to appear in the app. To submit a podcast to Apple Podcasts, you must have a Podcast Connect account and an RSS feed that includes required tags, at least one episode, and artwork. Submit your RSS feed URL to Podcast Connect, Apple's podcast portal, where you will validate your podcast RSS feed to make sure it meets technical requirements, contains the required tags, and includes show cover art and episode media files. After passing validation, submit your podcast for review, which may take up to 5 business days. While having your show on large platforms can provide many benefits, such as increased listener access, marketing tools and resources, and the ability to be featured in site roundups, make sure to consider the restrictions before deciding if it's the right fit. It can be a tedious process to tailor your podcast to meet all the requirements, and both Spotify and Apple Podcasts have regulations regarding the content they allow on their sites. What are the alternative incomes to build an audience? There are many additional ways to bring in revenue from your podcast without having a large audience. Here are a few to consider. Regardless of the size of your following, if it's dedicated, selling branded merchandise could be a good option. You could generate additional income by offering tickets to live shows of podcast recordings or through podcast-related events. Podcasts can be good spaces to test out and develop ideas for other projects, such as books, films, TV shows, and more that could potentially bring in more revenue. If the podcast is linked to a business, promoting the organization's goods and services on the show can be an effective way to drum up more traffic for the company and increase sales. Once you familiarize yourself with the process of running a podcast, you can offer your expertise as a podcast consultant or producer. Similarly, you could create a course to sell, either on podcast-related topics or about material connected to your show. Podcasts are a good way to demonstrate your experience in a field. Once you've asserted yourself as an authority on a topic, you can monetize your knowledge with public speaking gigs. How much money do average podcasts make? Whenever someone asks, how much money can podcasters make? What they really mean is, how much can the average podcaster make? You may intend to run a popular show with 10 million downloads, but that will be a while. So let's talk about some practical numbers. First, let's make a few reasonable assumptions. You put 3 ads in each episode, 1 pre-roll, 1 mid-roll, and 1 post-roll ad. 2% of your audience will support you on Patreon. They donate $5 a month, the most common donation amount. 1% of your audience will purchase products using your affiliate link each month. The value of each commission is $15. 0.05% of your audience purchases an online course each month. The course costs $99. You publish 4 episodes per month. There are technically 4.3 weeks in a month, but we're using round numbers to keep things simple. Based on these assumptions, if you have 1,000 downloads per episode, sponsors aren't interested in your show yet, but you can still make some money. $100 per month in Patreon support, $150 per month in affiliate sales, $495 per month in course sales, which totals to $745 per month. If you have $5,000 per episode, you'll start to land sponsorships. You'll be able to charge about $20 per CPM for ads, $1,200 per month in ads, $500 per month in Patreon support, $750 per month in affiliate sales, $2,475 per month in course sales, which totals to $4,925 per month. If you have $10,000 per episode, people will really start to notice your show. You'll be able to charge about $50 per CPM for ads, $6,000 per month in ads, $1,000 per month in Patreon support, $1,500 per month in affiliate sales, $4,950 per month in course sales, with a total of $13,450 per month. Keep in mind that these numbers are based on the assumptions we listed above. How much your podcast makes from each revenue stream could be different. You may not start podcasting with an online course ready to go. You might find a sponsor to pay you a higher CPM because your audience overlaps with theirs. Or you might have an audience with deeper pockets who don't mind supporting you on Patreon. Hosting a podcast can be a way to demonstrate industry knowledge or share a hobby and earn some extra income. Selling advertisements, participating in affiliate programs, offering subscriptions, or crowdfunding are the primary ways a podcast can generate revenue. Increasing accessibility by uploading your show to big platforms like Spotify or Apple Podcasts can help build your audience, which in turn can attract advertisers. But even without a large following, your podcast can bring in income through options such as selling tickets to live shows, coaching others on how to run a podcast, or monetizing your expertise at speaking events. While most podcasters make very little in the beginning, podcasts can be a lucrative career if you stick with it, engage your audience, and consistently create quality content. That's it for this video, Laptop Lifestyler. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and if you feel like we've delivered value, please share this video with one person. That's right, just one person, as a token of your appreciation for the hard work we put into making content that educates and helps you on your mission of building your own fortune. Remember, you can watch video after video, but it isn't until you actually take action that you'll start to see results. See you soon.